In 3, 2, 1.
From New York to Hollywood, London to Chicago, over the years I've interviewed some of the biggest stars, gone behind the scenes of the hottest shows, and had rare access to royal insiders. Join me as we open the WFTV archives and take a step back in time. This is the Video Vault. Hi, I'm Martie Salt, and in this episode, we turn back the clock to the fall of 1986. It was a time before smart TVs, smartphones, or tablets. There was a new talent bursting onto our small television screens, Oprah Winfrey, and she was just taking her Chicago-based talk show nationally. So I went to meet Oprah before she became Oprah. So let's crack open the Video Vault to the year 1986.
Oprah Winfrey.
It's an October evening in Aurora, Illinois, about 50 miles outside Chicago. But because of its small-town atmosphere, it could be 500 miles from Chicago. Oprah Winfrey is speaking to a packed theater audience. And what does this celebrity talk show host talk about? Something they all can identify with, a run in her hose.
I didn't notice it until I was already at work today, and these were the only pair of blue pantyhose I had, because you know how hard it is finding these in queen size.
Oprah continued for about an hour and a half, telling stories about herself, on herself, to a very receptive audience. But just 2.5 years ago, it's doubtful she could have captured the attention of the usher. But a lot has happened since then.
We're on the air.
Runaway moms.
This particular Oprah Winfrey show aired in Orlando just a few weeks ago, the result of syndication as of September. But Oprah's been doing programs like this, taking a subject and digging into it for an hour, almost since she first arrived in Chicago. To understand a little bit about Oprah's success, you need to know about her background. Oprah came here to Chicago from Baltimore in January 1984. She took over a locally produced morning show, which was third in the ratings. Within a month's time, she tied Donahue. A few weeks later, she surpassed him in the ratings and has stayed there ever since. Now, Phil Donahue was considered unbeatable because, after all, Chicago had been his home base for years. Television audiences might not pay much attention to who's ahead in the ratings or that this is Donahue's home base, but the TV industry does, and the attention has helped her earn a reputation around Chicago, the third largest television market in the United States. But what is it about this show, about this woman, that has pushed her to the top?
Everything that I am has to and have become has to do with, you know, the whole package of me, of who I am. So my whole approach to life, had I been born white, would have been different. My whole approach to life would be different if I were thin. I mean, if I didn't have to worry about my thighs, I wouldn't have a thing in life to worry about or complain about. So that would change a lot of things about me, and my personality probably would have been different had I been raised in a different environment and come from a different kind of background.
Oprah was born in Mississippi in 1954. She lived with her mother in Milwaukee for several years before finally moving to Nashville to live with her father at age 13. That was after a juvenile detention home did not have room to accept her. And under her father's strict behavior code, Oprah emerged a well-read, well-educated young woman in television news. And then she found her niche doing local talk shows where her personality could let loose.
I think that it is a part of my life plan for me to do this show. It's no accident that I'm doing this show. I think the sharing experience that I have every day on this show is a blessing from God. It really is. I feel that I have as much in common with a little girl growing up in the projects of Chicago as I do with some socialite. My message to the socialite and to the child in the project is the same. And that is, you are responsible for your life, period. Whatever successes or failures, joys or sadnesses you have in your life, you determine. There isn't some God up in the sky who, the day you're born, says, zap, Marty, you're going to do this and you're not going to do that and you're going to be unhappy. You, based upon what you think And what you think is what manifests for you, what is created for you.
The other thing we should talk about, too, is
the way society views
exactly, and how other women view them. I mean, other women think they are scum.
As you will hear today.
As you will hear today, exactly.
4 producers work to put together each day's show. They get ideas from magazines, newspapers, and letters, and all ideas are approved by Oprah. The guests come from anywhere, but the audience is from Chicago.
There are those who would say that the topics are sensational. You get people to talk about sex lives, things along those lines. How do you answer that criticism?
I'm not into sensationalism at all, but depending upon where you as a viewer are coming from, how limited you are or unlimited you are in your thinking, you may see it as sensationalism. I think if it happens and if it exists and occurs among, enough people, then it's worth me and you hearing about. Now, you may think that transsexuals and their parents is a sensationalist topic, but there are thousands of them. And we're doing a show on people who have had the operation, men who've become women and women who've become men, and years later decided, oh my goodness, I made a mistake, I don't want to do that. Now, a lot of people say that's sensational. I say it's very interesting.
The media compares Oprah to Phil. She says she does not. She hasn't watched him in 4 years, but if he's the one to beat, she's glad that she's the one to do it.
Is it still a big coup to you to know that your show may be beating his show someplace else?
Oh, it's not a coup as much as it's good. It's a good feeling. It's because it feels really good to win. But if I wasn't winning, just being able to do this every day, the message that we get across to people every day, the kind of loving, sharing energy that we express every day is really far more important than winning.
Up next, how Oprah's Oscar-nominated role in The Color Purple came about. Plus, she took me for a ride around Chicago in her limousine. And you won't believe the pit stop she insisted we take along the way.
The Video Vault continues with Martie Salt. The Oprah Interview, 1986.
Now, the year before I interviewed Oprah, she was still only a local show only airing in Chicago. And then a new opportunity suddenly fell in her lap. It started with a phone call from producer Quincy Jones, and she missed it.
Well, I got the phone call and I wasn't here. Quincy had been coming through Chicago and had seen me on the air, and as a result of seeing me on the air, thought that I would make a great Sophia. He said he loved my energy, and so they asked me if I could act, and I said, of course. Well, I hadn't acted, but I said, you better damn well believe if I'm going to get an opportunity to audition, I'm not going to say no. So yeah, I did, and I went and auditioned, screen tested with Spielberg, and was a nervous wreck, intimidated. I mean, there's this awe and there's intimidation. Hard to handle both, because you're like, oh my God, I'm standing here like in Steven Spielberg's studio, I can't believe it. And then it's, what does he think of me? He hates me. I know it. Okay, I saw him look at me. He hates me. I don't have a chance. And my knees are knocking together. And it was really, it was something.
Steven Spielberg didn't hate her, and he cast her in the role of Sophia, a pivotal character in the film. She gave a performance that led to an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress.
Looks like you got yourself in trouble.
No, sir, I ain't in no trouble. Big though.
Who the daddy?
Harpo.
How he know that?
He know 'cause he the only one.
What I believe, and more than believe, I know this, is that you do and I do create our own luck. And my definition of luck is simply preparation meeting opportunity. And so all of my life I prepared in my spirit and in myself to be an actress. I know that that's what I was born to do, was to be an actress. I know that. And so when I first read The Color Purple, I knew that if that movie was made, and I'd heard that, somebody's going to do a movie of The Color Purple. If that movie was made, I was going to find a way to be a part of it.
And she was. And she didn't have to quit what she was doing. She used 2 weeks of vacation from her Chicago television job to film it. Then this past year, Oprah took time out for another movie role in the newly released film Native Son. She plays the mother of a young man sentenced to die.
Ain't nobody but God can stop your suffering now.
I play the lead character's mother. I've got to stop playing these mothers, really. Next part you see me in...
Playing people 20, 25 years older than you.
I'm going to play a hoe with a red dress on, honey. I'm going to break up somebody's happy home pretty soon.
At least have a good time in your part.
In the next part that I do.
Oprah's TV and movie success has made her a very wealthy woman in a very short period of time, and it has allowed her to circulate among the rich and famous. She has an upcoming spot on 60 Minutes. Joan Rivers wants her, Johnny wants her back, and People magazine has her slated for a December cover. And she says one of the things she enjoys most about her financial status is giving the money away.
I mean, it's the biggest kick for me to, like, you know, write a check for $10,000 and go give it to a friend and say, here. I mean, and they weren't expecting it, and they say, woo.
What is having it all to you? I mean, what does that involve? To a lot of women, it's having a career, having children, having a husband, and juggling it all successfully. Is that what it is to you?
To me, it's just being at a point in your life when you are as comfortable with yourself as you are with your surroundings. And I already have that. I mean, as a matter of fact, I went to one of these seminars. I've never done a seminar in my life, and Arnold Patton was having a seminar, and you can have it all. And I left the seminar because I said, this is redundant. I already live this. I already have this. I have everything that I want.
Now, what you didn't see in that limo ride was the pit stop. Oprah got hungry, so the driver pulls the limo into a Wendy's drive-thru. So Oprah Winfrey and I had burgers and fries in the back of her limousine while driving through Chicago. I wish you could have seen the look on the cashier's face. Hey, we're not done. Coming up, a trip back into the video vault. We're looking at 1991 with Daytime Emmy winner Joan Rivers.
We're going back into the video vault with Martie Salt. The year, 1991.
Another legend who was making her own mark in daytime talk was Joan Rivers. I visited her on her set in New York in 1991, and she was very open, she was very friendly, very easy to talk to. And on stage, of course, she gives the impression of being this extremely confident woman. But when we started talking, she actually admitted to being quite the opposite.
No confidence at all. Hate to go to a place with people I don't know. I hate to get in any situation that is at all alien or strange to me. No confidence. It gets worse as you get older.
What allows you to go on stage and do stand-up comedy and if you don't have confidence?
You don't know them. You're doing it to strangers. And
Do you
that's
see
okay.
them out there? Do you see faces?
See them. When it's a friend, I lose all confidence. When I work with strangers, it's a very different thing. Because if it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. You don't know each other.
Do you get nervous?
Every time I go on, I get nervous. Very nervous before the show.
Joan Rivers grew up Joan Malinsky in Brooklyn, New York. She graduated from Bernard College in 1955 and married her first husband while she was a buyer at Lord & Taylor department store. But theater was where she wanted to be. She was an actress before launching a career as a stand-up comedian, and she had 4 other stage names before finally settling on Joan Rivers, taking the last name of a booking agent. In 1965, she married Edgar Rosenberg, who managed her career until his death in 1987. The Joan Rivers that we see on stage, do you think people know you? The one that we see on stage, the image that we see on stage?
The Joan Rivers on Channel 9 at 10 a.m. is very much...
Gotta get that in.
It's very much who I really am. That's the closest to me I've ever been on television. Because you have a chance to be funny and be silly and be sad and all that kind of stuff. The Joan Rivers on stage is one facet of me. You know, it's funny and quick and loud and screaming and outrageous.
The real Joan Rivers is also the proud mother of 22-year-old daughter Melissa, whose pictures are prominently displayed on the show's set. A recent college graduate, Melissa works in California on a TV show. Joan says they talk every day. What do you want for her life?
Rich husband. Big bucks with no premarital.
Do you want her to have a career? Do you want her to be married? Do you want her to have children? Do you want her to have it all?
I want her to have what every mother wants for their child. I want her to be happy. I want her to have an adoring husband. I want her, obviously, to have children. Has to have children because I think they're just everything in the end. here are my jewels. It's so, ridiculous and trite, but that's true. I want to have everything. And I want her to have a very rich mother she can visit.
Are you a better performer now or even a stronger woman since Edgar's death?
I'm not a better anything since it's, I didn't learn anything except that I can survive, which was actually a major lesson, that at this age I could pick it all up and just say I'm going to do it again, and did to an extent, did do it again. That's the only thing I learned. And I learned that I hate being alone. I learned those 2 lessons. And I learned how to, work a car and stuff. But you don't learn from a thing like that. You just learn.
You survive.
You survive, and you just learn that you can survive.
Would you marry again? Would you want to?
I think I'd be very worried to marry again. Very scared. The first year I would have married anything. Put it in pants. I was so nervous and lonesome and frightened. Oh, yeah. Now as you get more secure in yourself, you just say, sometimes I say, it's really wonderful. It's really wonderful being absolutely your own person. And then something terrific will happen to Melissa or to me, like that Melissa's doing very well now, and there's nobody really to share it with. And that's what marriage comes down to, having a buddy that you really share the highs and the lows. And that's what I miss.
You miss those things.
That's what I miss. I miss that person.
Yeah.
And that you can say anything to, and they won't tell it to anybody.
There's more to come on the Video Vault. We're going backstage of Joan Rivers' daytime talk show. Plus, we're going to talk about hair. My hair. You don't want to miss that. The Video Vault continues right after this.
The Video Vault continues with Martie Salt.
A lot of work, of course, goes into putting on a successful talk show. Joan won an Emmy for Best Talk Show Host in 1990, and we went behind the scenes to see how all that came together.
This week's Inquirer has an article about a man who eats raw meat, walks on all fours, and howls. I know you think it's another biography of Teddy Kennedy, but it's not.
It's almost noon, and Joan Rivers is meeting with her producers in her dressing room to go over preparations for the show they'll tape at 1. She has a similar meeting early in the morning before the 9 o'clock show, which airs live in some TV markets.
Coming up next week, Merv Griffin, yes.
It's at this time she reads over copy for introductions and fine-tunes the material. Some of it she comes up with, some of it her writers do. But this isn't the first time she's heard of who the guests are. Rivers says she takes home a stack of homework every night to prepare for the next day, and she tapes 2 shows a day, 3 days a week. One producer told me this is the only job where he's gotten to work at 6 a.m. and started laughing. And you'd be surprised by the size of the studio. It looks spacious, expansive on television. In person, it's cramped.
But if you want to know how tall she is, who does her hair, how old she is, she might not tell you, but you can ask. No, ask her anything.
Outside the studio doors is a line of people hoping to get into the show. Tickets are free, and the studio fits about 140 people, some of whom have been waiting a couple of hours at least. Just a few doors down is a similar line for the Geraldo show. Finally, the audience is allowed in. But before the show actually begins, Hester, who's worked with Joan for years, warms them up. Sometimes Joan herself helps with the warm-up, sometimes not. Today she does.
Anybody have any questions to ask? Anybody know anything?
Within a couple of minutes, they're ready to start.
Stand by music. 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7,
Are you
6,
set, Jules? 5.
5, 4, 3.
Stand by music, camera 3, Jones, hand mic.
1.
And music up on 3 over mic 3.
It's made to look easy, but it takes a staff of 35 people to pull it off. Producers keep track of available celebrity guests, and they constantly scour newspapers and magazines for show ideas, not to mention what's brought to their attention. Shows are booked weeks in advance.
We're very lucky with Joan in that we can do a lot of different things.
Larry Ferber is executive producer and was brought on board last year. When the show began, all of the shows were taped. Ferber changed that, and now half of them are live, which he says works better for a performer like Joan Rivers.
We're on 2 years. It's gotten much lighter. It's become much more, I think, what I'm about, really. But I've gotten lighter in 2 years. My life has changed a lot. It started out, they said to me, daytime, that means only serious topics, which is ridiculous. Because I think what makes our show unique is that you laugh, we have a good time, and then we have serious topics in between.
Yes.
We have a lot of fun on my show.
The best guests, are celebrity-wise, are people who play with her and allow them to play back. As she said with Joan Collins, and this was something that had happened a while ago, not on this last particular interview, but when she interviewed Joan Collins once, Joan Collins said to her, she asked Joan Collins, she said, who's the best man you've ever had in bed? And Joan Collins said, your husband. So they played.
Joan Rivers unfortunately passed away in 2014 at the age of 81. And Oprah, well, we all know what she's done since those early days. Now, the elephant in the room that we have not mentioned is my hair. 1980s hair was frightening. At least mine was. Oh, gosh. This is... Oh, jeez. Okay, not so bad, not so bad. Oh, gee. Farrah Fawcett hair. Oh, okay. Not too bad, not too bad. Gee. I know. Oh, gee. Okay. So-so. Not good, not great. Oh, gee, that shirt. Oh, my. Oh, gosh, this is bad. Okay. Oh, not good, not good. So. Oh, gee. Oh, bad form. Oh. Glamour shots. Who didn't have glamour shots? This is painful. This is very painful. Oh. That was bad. Hopefully, I finally got the hair thing under control. But you know, people think that we have somebody do our hair and makeup every day, and we did not, which was obvious. But I mean, those were the days of the heat rollers, and so I'd spend the afternoon with rollers in my hair in the newsroom because you'd have the newscast to do in the afternoon. There was tons of hairspray. They're perms. Oh gosh, remember perms? Oh gee, my hair is straight. It doesn't do perms. Anyway, so that's why we ended up with all these bad hair days. And we've got the video to show it. So anyway, not good. It is time to close the video vault for now. Until next time, I am Martie Salt signing off.